Okay, we're going to get started. Welcome to PowerLunch for November. If there's people in the other locations, you can type in a question, or the people who are in the room with us, you can, I'm sure Russ is going to allow time for us to have some questions and things like that. It's my pleasure to be here at Woodbury, especially with Russ, who I'm going to tell you is, I think, the hardest working guy at Office Centers. He's always the first person here, the last to go. If I see the lights on the weekend when I drive by, I know that Russ is probably in doing some work. Not only is he a great hard worker, and I say that when I talk about our secrets to success, one of the biggest secrets is, right, Russ?
Yes.
People, you got to work hard, right?
Work hard.
Yes, he's a hard worker,
Exactly.
and he's got high energy. I'm going to just go over his bio with you now, because he's a results-driven executive with 30 years of domestic and global leadership experience in assessing organizational needs and providing bottom-line, results-focused solutions. Sounds like something why I got a table right there in the front too, right?
Yes. Thank you, Lori.
Through a proven process, Russ has assisted organizations like AT&T, Verizon, Walgreens, Sun Country Airlines, Apple, Target, and many more build fully functional organizations developing strategic solutions and manage complex projects. Additionally, as a professional EOS implementer, Russ has provided strategic business planning for a full breadth of companies. Often, these plans synthesize marketing, sales, software development, support, and manufacturing systems that help build breakthrough results. Through his process, Russ empowers companies to rethink the way they approach their business with a goal of giving vision traction. It's my pleasure to introduce Russ Zilles.
All right. Thank you very much. So one reason I'm here at Office Centers, I've been here since April 1st, not to be a joke or anything, but is the energy. And so for those that know me, it's all about the energy. It's about having fun with what we do. So everyone raise your hands up right now and go, yes! Yay! Yes, I love the snow! All right, that's me. All right, well, I do love the snow since I've been here. But anyways, welcome, and Lori, thank you, and Office Centers team for allowing me to share with you what I've gained and learned over the many years of working in business. And as you know, as we look at what we've done through our past, it's all about our experiences. And I look at all the experiences I've done and how can I help and share with others those experiences. I've worked with major corporations, small businesses, and so on, and have taken all the ways of how these businesses operate and pull the best out of them and try to find the best tools on how to run our business. And for those that many of you are in corporations and find that things can be really complex. What I ran across was a book called Traction by Gina Whitman. And there are certain tools in here that I'm going to share with you. They're going to help you elevate your business. And as I like to say, break your business through the bottlenecks. With that, so we're going to be going through some of those. But before we get going, I'd like to start out with a survey questions. And with this, I'm going to pop up 8 questions, one at a time, for those that are trying to think faster here. And I want you to give yourself 1 point if you fully agree with the question. Okay, first one is, my work and personal life are in reasonable balance. Okay, shouldn't take too long, we know that one. You are running your business versus your business running you. Everyone knows what is expected of them and how to contribute to your business. Employees are happy most of the time. Think about that one. You have passion for your business. Now be honest. You are on track to increasing your profits this year and next. Okay. Everyone in your company is crystal clear to your core target, your 3-year picture, your 1-year plan, or 1-year goals. Everyone understands what those are. And the last one is, this is my favorite here, you've taken at least a 2-week vacation from your business over the past 12 months. And the key here is you relaxed. So I'm looking at Mr. Wayne Kemper, who's the CEO of Gina Salsa. Yes. All right, Wade, we got that. Okay. Now, tally up your scores. You only need 8. For those that had a score of 5 or up, raise your hand. 5. Excellent. All right. Anyone with an 8? No, exactly. So I'm not going to embarrass anyone by who had less than a 5. I'll tell you, when I started on this process with Traction, we were at a 1. And the giveaway is passion for the business. As entrepreneurs, business leaders, we all have that passion. So with that. So with the tools I'm about to share with you, we're going to be able to increase on all of these 8 questions here and add into those. So there's a model, here's a model. And the model we work with is called the EOS model. It stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And this is also on page 2, I believe, in your handout. You want to put some notes on that. And I'm going to take you through these components. We call each one of these a key component from vision. And with vision, I want to make sure this is how we can empower our team members to understand our business and how we move forward. People, making sure and using some tools, simple tools on how we can identify having the right people in the right seats. And data. Data is about having some form of measurement scorecard. How do we track our business in a very simple approach? And once we can strengthen these top 3 components, the issues and problems in our businesses start to bubble up. So now imagine we've turned some dials, we're hitting the right people, we've got this right vision, and we have a way of measuring our business, and these problems are coming up. Well, these problems are all issues. And what happens in most businesses, happen in mine, is the issues pop up, but people are afraid to bring them up. And then the issues linger on and on and on. So what I'm going to share with you is a way of how to address those issues and move forward quickly. Process. We all create processes, process documents. And what typically happens in our entrepreneurial businesses is we'll create a process document, and then that process document continues to grow. Pretty soon people don't even know what the process is. So with that. And then traction, how we bring all these together, bring vision and gain traction with our business. Sound good? All right. So with that, this is going to turn into a workshop. So if you have a jacket on, you might want to take it up. Yes.
Been working out.
Yes. All right. So now we turn this into a workshop, and these typically, taking folks through the whole process of the EOS model is about 90 minutes. I've condensed this down to about 45 minutes to just touch on some things. And so the key elements here, just point her back. So we're going to start out with this vision component. This is about how do we help our employees ensure understanding how to move forward with our business. So if you open up to page 3, I believe, it's called the vision section here. And what we want to do is there's actually only 8 questions identifying what our vision is. Most companies have some form of mission statement. Right? I walk into a corporation and there's a big vision statement on the wall. The challenge I find with those, and I've been guilty of it, is folks don't really understand what it means. And often they come from perhaps a leadership team that went on a 2-day event and came back and defined what the mission statement is going to be. But it's not really who they are. And so by going through these 8 questions in this workbook, we can really define what's our core values. So I'm going to drill into, and the others we're just going to touch on. But the top is about core values. And when we think about core values, that's about who are you at your core. And this is key because often what's on the website is who we want to be, not who we are. It's important to identify who we are. And the exercise I'm going to have you do here is I want you to think about, for sake of time, think about 3 people you admire, dead or alive, and what are their traits? What do you really like about them? So I'm not asking you to write down what are you personally, but who do you admire and want to be around? You can think about your friends and so on. So I'll give you about 15 seconds. Should be fairly quick. And what typically happens, so when I do this with leadership teams, we'll put names of those folks actually on a board, on a whiteboard, and start writing down the traits of all these people. And what happens is commonalities between traits start popping out, literally start popping out. We do this technique we call keep, kill, or combine these traits. And pretty soon we will whittle this down to no more than 5 values. So as you're writing these down, excellent, excellent. So we can keep thinking about how that works. And again, this is about your core. So Lori, with office centers, the energy, it's about getting your leadership team and have them all identify. Because it's important that the leadership team is all together on what your core values are. Otherwise, honestly, you have some wrong folks on your team. And it's when I work with companies, when I tell them, and with the Jalama Salsa team here, remember what I told you with our first meeting is I care about you, but I care about your business more. And some of you may not be the right people in the right seats. And of course, the leaders and kind of like, wait a minute, I started this company. Yes, but you might not be the one that can take it to the next level. All right, so core focus. This is where we want to identify, think about this about the vision statement. And most vision statements are a paragraph, agreed? Right, we get this down to 7 words. People can understand the 7 words. And this is pretty intense. And as a Jalama's team here knows, and I know Nathan from Peach Media is in the back here, been through this process also. And so we get this down to what is our real purpose and what is our cause? Why are we here? And that could be a general overall statement. But then we drill it down a little bit deeper about what's our niche. And I know with office centers, Lori hasn't told me about what I get is the energy and the community that Lori has brought together. It's
I think too affordable.
And affordable.
Yeah, affordable. I never
Yes.
used to have that in, but I think it's really important because there's so many entrants to the market that are doing what we do that are really, really expensive options. And I think that we really want to be an affordable solution.
Yes, very good. Thank you, Lori. That's definitely yeah. Then we move on to, so when we talk about the core values and core focus, this is when we, oh, there we go. We use those 2 components to identify people. And I'll dig to that a little bit deeper. But that's where those 2 components come in. The 10-year target, sometimes referred to as core target. This could be 5 years. Typically, most companies look at 10 years. And notice that it's a target. I've been on retreats, right? We go out and spend 2 or 3 days, come up with our company strategies, the 5-year to 10-year plan. And honestly, those 10-year plans, they really should be boiled down to 1 sentence. That's really it. Instead of spending all the time, what's a 10-year target? And for office centers, it could be, and Lori will have some targets out there. I don't know what they are. I'm going to make them up for you, Lori. But to have 15 locations or 30 locations in 10 years. I don't know. Geez, it's more like this. So, folks, I don't know. We'll have to find out what it is. No, Lori knows what it is. Anyways, identifying that 10-year target, and this is key so everyone knows where we're going. Marketing strategy. This is the 4th one. And this is about identifying our target market. And what is so off or common with entrepreneurs, particularly small businesses getting going, is entrepreneurs have 50 ideas. And trying to focus down onto what is the target market we are going after. Now, again, this is a target, right? The bullseye. There are the outliers, but it's not our target. Then we have 3 uniques. We need to identify what's the 3 uniques for our business. Why would someone do business with us? In my world of business advising, business leadership, come on, there's like thousands of us. But what makes Russ, ECLIPSE Business Advisors, unique? There's a couple things that are common, and there's one that's very unique. And for me, it's my history and experience and exposure to many different businesses over 37 years. and being very successful. I started a corporation, actually I did on the intro, I didn't share with you. I started a corporation in 1996 in a backroom carpet store with 2 other gentlemen. We all left very good jobs to start up a dream. And that dream was to create a technology to allow corporations to test out their call centers, their contact centers, telecommunication systems. So if you were to call some of these companies on one of these slides here, many of these were customers. And so to ensure that those systems are working, we developed software to do that. And in 2012 is when I got connected with Attraction, because our business was stumbling. We were stuck in this bottle. And it helped us get focused and move on to the next level. And in 2015, sold the corporation, and here I am today to share with you everything that I've done. Actually, I'm here to share the problems or the issues. Right? I'm more impressed with folks that have tried businesses and failed, and then get back up and go again. That's where the learning comes in, and that's what I'm here to share with you, so you don't make the same mistakes. So back to the marketing strategy, proven process. This is why do people do business with you? And this should be a 1-page document. And guarantee says for itself, guarantee for product. So once we identify those components of the vision, then we move over to our 3-year picture. And as we look at our 3-year picture, what we have on there is what's the date, what's the revenue, profit, and what are the measurables. First, we need to be able to measure our business moving forward. But again, notice this is not a multi-page document. This is one block on the side here. And we sit back and we look at what does our business look like? And start and document that out there. Then we take that component and we move on to the next page, which is called our traction page. And on the attraction page, now we have a 1-year plan. This is where we start bringing things down to the ground and start to get some traction on this. We have this 10-year target. We've got a 3-year picture. Now we're going to take a look at the 3-year picture and what can we do in 1 year to get to the picture. And with that, again, of course, the date, revenue, profit, and how do we measure it. But then we look for the goals for the year. And notice there's only 7 slots. There shouldn't be any more than 7 goals for that year. And what often happens is we get 15, 20 goals for the year, which they're not achievable. It is very difficult. So we identify what are those goals just for the year. Then we'll move over to the middle section. This is called rocks. Rocks are something, of course, we can physically touch. Some of you may know rocks as KPI, key performance indicators, or objectives. Who's had objectives? Yeah. Yep. And what's challenging there is I can't really physically touch them. And Gina, in all his wisdom, we came up with the term rocks because we can touch them. And what happens is we identify these rocks that we can accomplish within 90 days, notice 90 days, that go with the 1-year plan. We're not identifying all the rocks or issues or objectives for the year, just for 90 days. So the tell here is we're starting to run our business on 90-day cycles. 90-day cycles. That's another psychological type thing. Whereas when we start a project, we're excited. We can't wait to get going on this project. And then come the last week, it's like, oh my God, this thing's due. Well, what happens is the last week is the last week of the year. And I ran a sales division for my last year with the corporation. And if it came to the last week of the year, we're in big trouble. So we turned the tide around, and I'm going to go back to the Joe Mama Salsa team here. Right? This is what we've been doing, and your business is taking off. Look for them in stores. Starting to take off. And so it's about the 90-day cycles. Do you guys agree? Nathan, Peach Media?
Definitely.
Yes, definitely. So this is key. Now on the far, you're right, we call issues list. This is key here is we need to get all the issues, we call like roadblocks, speed bumps, and put them out on a list. What happens is if we don't put them on a list, we don't see them and other members don't see them in the team. Talked about that. That's the vision traction organizer. And I'm going to spin you back to, we're going to jump into people because of these core values and core focus. And go to the next page. I think I have, now on the next page, I'll give you just some examples of core focus. You've seen this on the next page. Just some examples of core values. Give you some thinking there. But what we do then, if you go to page 7, is we call the people analyzer. I've worked with teams and my teams where we had really the wrong people. We didn't know how to deal with them. And what we do is we measure our people by our core values. Simple as that. And sorry, I punched it. So under name, what we do is we put the name of the team, folks on our team, and in the vertical slanted boxes, we put those up to 5 core values. One of my core values is humbly confident. So I would put, we have to be humbly confident. And if someone is not, and what we do in the square boxes is we put a plus or minus, or plus minus. If they're consistent, it's a plus. If they're usually, plus minus, and if they don't fit it, they're a minus. And so we go through and we rate employees based on the core values. And you establish within your company, if there are 3 minuses, they don't fit. Yeah, they need to move on. And to be honest, I've been through this and have had to move people very black and white that they needed. Now there will be 3 extra boxes on there, and what those are, if you turn to, we have another, the next page is called, the top says GWC. We call that get it. Do they get it? And the next is do they want it? And the third is do they have the capacity to do it? Yep. And capacity, of course, is time, emotion, skill, all those. So do you really have the capacity, the ability to do it? Now, if they don't meet the get it, want it, and have the capacity, you've got a wrong person. Okay, so that's flying through there. Is this making sense?
Absolutely.
Yes? Yes, okay. Great. All right, so back to the people, getting the right people. This is how we get the right people in the right seats, but there's another part of this, which is send you to this page, accountability chart on page 8. So just you all take this, and I know when I work with, especially I'll tell you, small businesses, under 10 employees, what folks don't realize, we feel we're really busy, we got so many things going on, but we don't write them down. And what this process does is it focuses on actually writing down what are the functions in our business. We've all created org charts. The problem with org charts is we put a name and then we put a position, right? Or we'll start our business that way, but then we grow our business and we start keeping people and making roles. With an accountability chart is we create the function. And all businesses will have, sales and marketing and operations, some form of finance. And as they grow, HR will come in. There'll be other groups that come in. But with these is we identify those roles. And I'll tell you, when I was on the receiving end of going through traction, and my coach, we're in a room and I had 6 VPs around and there's a CEO and I was president. And our coach said, everyone in the room's fired. I go, oh, what do you mean I'm fired? I'm part of this company. No, you're fired, Russ. Everyone's fired. We have to agree that because what we want to make sure is we get the right roles, right people in the right seats. And as I mentioned earlier about I care about you, your business more, that's what I was being told. So sat back. I was happy to find out there was a role. But the
Did have a spot for you?
there was a spot for me. It was the same spot. But what came out of this was there were roles, functions that some of us weren't realizing what were there. We had someone who was frustrated all the time. Didn't know why this person was frustrated until we put these on the board and found out this person was in 4 different boxes. Oh my God, no wonder the person was so darn frustrated. And so by putting it on the board and letting everyone understand how everyone impacts the business, we're able to create a plan to bring in other people to help facilitate and then move this business forward. So that's part of it. The integrator, you see the integrator? That role is typically known as CEO, president. But you can tell here what we've done is we've pushed out all of those ego titles. This is about accountability. It's not about ego and, hey, I'm the CEO. It's not about that. So when you look at the roles of the integrator, you can see lead, manage accountability, remove barriers. They're about the culture and about they're like the glue that keeps the organization together. But what happens when we start our businesses, and many of you here are in the visionary role. Well, when we start our businesses, it was the visionary, got this crazy idea, get this idea going, and we need to let go. We call it let go of the vine, and realize that we've got the idea going, but I can't take it any further because I got too many crazy ideas. And I was part of the crazy idea team, starting our company years ago, and I would drive my operations and development folks nuts. I didn't realize it. But I would call in every day and have a great idea in my head, until I found out that, partner said, Russ, you're driving us nuts. Stop it. And so it's important to bring in some form of integrator that can keep things on track, and I say shield everybody else from the visionary. Shield them from the visionary. This is me speaking from being there, and be able to help coordinate. We get meetings and Lori's smiling. Oh, we know where you are there.
We have my teams here too.
Oh, your team is back here too.
They're shields. We're doing shields.
They're the shields. Yes, yes. And so this is what's key to understanding visionary and integrator. And there's a book called Rocket Fuel. So if you haven't heard of Rocket Fuel, just Google Rocket Fuel, and the author is Mark Winters. Google Rocket Fuel, Mark Winters. He has an assessment on there, and the Jamamas team took this assessment to figure out who's the visionary. Is it Wayne or is it Tim? Tim or Wayne? And being the visionary, there's DNA in integrators and visionaries. We think about Apple. We all heard about Steve Jobs. He was a visionary, but who's really turning the screws down there? And so the integrators are those that are not looking for the limelight. They're just down in there making everything going, keep things going. So it's important to understand the two and who you are and who on your team is which role they fill. So Rocket Fuel is a great book for them. All right, any questions? Nope, we're good. All right, let's move this forward. We're going well here on our time. So that's the people. Now we're going to touch on the data component. The data component is on the company scorecard. So if you turn to page 10.
Mine says 11.
Yours says 11? All right, you got a bonus page. Maybe all yours say 11 then.
Oh, okay.
Company scorecard. So when you think about a company scorecard, I think of it as the scoreboard. If I'm at a hockey game or a baseball game, I don't need to, I just look up at the board, I'll be having a hot dog or something, I just look up at the board. I don't necessarily need to know how that score happened, although I want to know, but I don't. I just don't know what's the score. And this is what a scorecard is about. We create 5 to 15 metrics on our business. And think about if you're on vacation, what do you need to know? You're having that 2-week vacation, trying to relax. You don't need to know everything that happens in your business. You just want to know some key elements. Could be, of course, sales, how much money's in the bank. So mine was, what's account receivables? I want to know how much cash do we have, how many issues do we have with customers, and kind of going through the list. And like with the salsa team, it's like inventory, tracking inventory, and customer experience, and so on. With that, so these are 5 to 15 just elements that we do. So that's that's creating that company scorecard. And what you say is the metrics. So you'll see a column here, there's measurables, but then there's the goal. We have to put down what's the goal so we can actually track that. Okay. The next, so well, once we get these vision, people, and data components strong, and I say we turn these dials just a little bit, our company starts to squeeze through this bottleneck, just a little bit, right, Wayne?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. And what happens is all of a sudden all these problems are starting to pop out at us. And wait a minute, we got all these problems coming out. What do I do with them? I don't know how to deal with them because we just shovel them on. We'll push them on to the next meeting. Let's have another meeting. No, what we do is we have a component we call issues. And on the issue with issues, we have we learn to how to create an issues list. And so we create a list to put our issues on. And then we work on the skill we call identify, discuss, and solve. Typically what happens is we identify there's an issue, we discuss it, and we discuss it. And we discuss it. And Wayne, remember what we call that when we discuss so many times? Politicking? Politicking, exactly. So we maybe I was culprit of that. We start repeating ourselves. We say, stop, we're politicking, we need to solve this. And we become experts at when those issues pop up, we knock them down. We work on them. Then we move into process. And the process, and we have a slide on that one. The process is identifying those processes I mentioned earlier. If mine is on page 13. The core processes at the top. And so what we want to do is identify what are the main processes for our business, not everything. What are the processes? How do we hire? Process before. So with office centers, what's the process of when someone rents an office or someone rents space here? And it needs to only be a one-page document. Let me show you how easy this is to work with us. We have a process that once you sign, here's what we do, and it needs to be illustrated just in a picture box. So for example, my process, the process of EOS is this is what we do, nice hard card to show people our process to help companies break through their bottlenecks is we do a 90-minute meeting, show them how this works, and then we break down, we have a focus day, vision building days, and so on, and show in a simple format the process of what we do. So we have some folks here from law firm. What's the processes there? Oh my gosh.
Too many.
Too many processes. John, yes. So this is key. So it's key. So the other element of process is to make sure that they're followed by everybody. We create documents, and what happens? We take these documents, we open up our drawer, throw them in the drawer. Boom. Process is done. I got a check mark. Hip, hip, hooray. No, it's not what happens. We got to pull it back out. And we have to make sure that the processes are followed by everybody, and they're in a location that we can be. And we just went to sleep. And here we go. So to make sure our processes are followed by all. Make sense? Who here has processes in their business? And how many pages should the processes be?
1.
Exactly, 1 to 3. No more than 3 pages. For more than 3 pages, there's just too much there. So we need to simplify those processes. Then we move down into traction. This is where we really bring the rubber to the road. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So in the traction, we've already talked about rocks. How we build the rocks, what the rocks are made of. And I get to the floor. Here we go. So we identify our rocks, how they relate to our company plan, 1-year plan and goals. But then the last component of how we really get traction is meetings. So who in here loves meetings? Nathan, yes! From Keach Media, love it, love meetings with your own team. Exactly. I'm with Nathan, I know the Jamama Salsa team. I hated meetings, waste of time. Literally, like you, I'm in a room with other folks. I'm just counting the dollars that are being sucked up while we're sitting in these meetings. And what happens after an hour and a half, 2 hours of meeting? Nothing. What we did is we created another meeting. With this process of dealing with how to deal with issues, we have successful meetings. And here's the, again, genius of Gino, is a simple agenda. I'd like you to use this agenda. So when we start out a meeting, we have the first 5 minutes is about getting into the meeting. So when you came here, you weren't into this workshop yet. You're still getting pizza, you're talking about everything else, about the snow and everything. You're not in the meeting yet. And what happens is we use all the time in the beginning of the meetings to talk about everything else. No, what we need to do is transition into this meeting. I'm here. The way we do that is we go around the room and talk about, everyone gives one best personal news over the past week. Now, these are weekly meetings. And one best business news. So it's like, well, what happens there? Well, I'll tell you what happens is we begin to build trust with your leadership team. And this was an issue with my company is we didn't trust one another. So how do you build that? Well, what happens is you have to start to open up and share one best personal news. It could be my daughter had a great volleyball game. And one of the responses later is, I didn't know your daughter played volleyball. Wait a minute, you've known me for 5 years. But wait a minute, you never told me anything. So we open up. Business news, had a great meeting last week, blah, blah, blah. Great. So everyone goes through here and think about this. There's a lot of there's psychology in this. When we turn our brain on into talking about positive things, it starts to get us into where we really want to be, and that's in this meeting. Make sense? Yes? All right. All right, then we go and we review the scorecard. So on the scorecard, we go through and Tim and Wayne, we go through the scorecard. What are the only words we can use?
On track or off track?
Exactly, on track or off track. What happens, and we've been conditioned for this since birth, I guess, is that when we're off track, we don't meet our goal, what do we want to do? We got to explain it. Well, that's us, and I'll tell you what, there's 6 other people in the room that really don't care about that goal. Oh no, I got to tell you, let me give you 5-10 minutes on why I didn't hit that target. No. On track or off track. And that's why you'll see the scorecard, we allocate 5 minutes. Boom, on track, off track. And if someone wants to talk about one of the topics, they go down onto, we call the issues list. This is where the issues list. And so it'll be, I understand, Nathan, you want to talk about that topic? Let's put it down on the issues list. We'll get to it. Then we go on to people headlines. Again, that's only 5 minutes. And people headlines, it can be customer headlines. Hey, signed up a great client is moving into office centers here, and it's really exciting. Everybody should know this. And you also saw from Anytime Fitness with your business too, right? Some exciting things. We've got some new clients. We get some new targets. We got a great promotion that's happening. And so that would be a company news. And then people headlines, same type of. But the next is called the to-do list. All right, we actually call it the 7-day to-do list. And these are the items that last week people agreed to get done by this week. And when we make this to-do list, and Wayne's shaking his head up and down because he knows there was a week where the number of to-dos weren't met, and when our goal was to hit 90% of these to-dos. And we had a very deep discussion. And this is how we move the business forward. And so on the to-do list, where the 2 words we use are done.
Done or not done?
And not done, exactly. Because what happens again? Well, yep, Wayne will want to explain why he didn't get the task done. And to be honest, again, might be anyone in the room that may not care. And if someone cares about it, it'll go down on the issues list. So what you can see is we spent a little bit of time just getting ourselves into this meeting. We're really into this meeting. Now we're going to spend 60 minutes discussing issues. And 60 minutes seems like a long time. When our coach said, Russ, you need to carve out 90 minutes once a week, I said, you're nuts, too busy. Well, reality is, but it cuts down on all these other, I call it cooler conversations with everybody else throughout the week. And we just get together once a week and go through these and start talking on the issues. Now, key with the issues are, so we built up this issues list of all these issues. To our first meeting, we had 27 issues. We were a train wreck. But we couldn't solve all of them. So what we do is we vote. And we look at what issues do we need to solve within the next 7 days. It could be bank financing. It could be a mail campaign that has to go out. But everybody throughout the leadership team votes. So of course, operations is looking at their issues. They're number one, development, marketing, sales, and everyone's voting. But what happens is once these issues are put on a board, and it's important that they get put up on a board because everybody sees what everybody else's issues are. And pretty soon that the ops team recognizes we better get that financing or I can't do what I need to do. So my ops issue is not number one. I'm voting for financing. And we've only picked three issues, although there would be 27. Wait a minute, I got 27. No, we can only pick 3. And if there's a tie, that person who's called the integrator breaks the tie. So now we start talking about the one issue. We identify the root cause. We discuss it until it becomes politicking, and then we solve it. Our first meeting, we solved one. And I'll tell you, the team was ecstatic. We actually solved the meeting. It was fabulous. But then we go in, and I'll tell you, the 60 minutes. And I know with some of the teams that Nathan's shaking his head up and down. Yep, we want to solve more. You get into a rhythm of how to do this and really move the company forward. Then we conclude, and the bottom you'll see says feedback. How many of you have given feedback at the end of the meeting? I know Nathan and you guys are raising your hands, of course. This is how we improve our meetings. And we have to rate the meeting 1 to 10. 10 is, if this was valuable, got out of it. I have no ideas on how we can improve our meeting. And the rule I go by is if you rate 8 or less, you have to say why. Why'd you give it an 8? Oh, I don't know. Well, then why'd you give it an 8? If you don't know, I mean, the logic, I don't get it. But our meetings were 2s and 3s when we started. And, it could be not, I wasn't prepared for the meeting. We didn't get enough done in the to-dos, or you guys didn't listen to me, or you didn't let me talk. But what happens is we get that feedback out right away, instead of after the meeting, we walk out of the meeting and we complain about the meeting we were just in. And it helps us improve our meetings, and you will see your meetings start to improve once you rate them. So this does relate back to trust. And everyone on the leadership team, whatever the team you have, understands this process, and it's about helping our meeting become better. That's what rating is. It's so important. The key important to improving our meetings, and that's how we gain traction. See how that works? Yes. Yes. Okay. So those are the process. Those are the 6 key components of every business. And people will say, so Russ, what kind of businesses do you work with? Does this work with? And I'll say every business, providing there's people, and also providing that the leadership team is open and honest. I've met folks who have all the answers, and they're not the right folks for this type of process. You have to be open-minded, willing to change, to use this kind of process, because that's really what it takes to move the business forward. You say grow or die, right? Right? So that's the story. And how are we doing here on time? Oh, right on. Excellent. Right on. So with that, we'll open it up for some questions. So what I do want to throw out there is the first 20 people that send me an email wanting more information, I'll send you this traction book. If you don't have one, I'll send you this traction book. Gina's picture's in the back, but the traction book covers everything I've talked about, and your welcome to use that. So with that, I'm gonna bring Lori back up
Thank
here.
you so much. And I know. Thank you so much for coming. I know I've got tons of notes. And I need probably a private meeting after that. Does it really matter where you are in your life cycle? You know, after 37 years of business, sometimes we need to reinvent as well,
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Just a few reminders. We have opened our 7th location in Edina. We're going to be doing some remodeling of that location and hope to have a great relaunch the first part of the year. We're also going to be remodeling our park location, and starting next Tuesday, we start our holiday luncheon schedule. Every Tuesday and Thursday, all through the month of December, we're going to be arriving at one of our office center locations with our La 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 lasagna. Exactly. So that's what we're doing for our holiday lunch here. The date is December 11th. So we hope that you can join us. It's been a great year. It's our way of saying thank you to all of the people who have helped and supported us during the 2018, and it's a great kickoff for next year as well. I know Russ is going to be here. We're all going to be here, so I hope to see you. So thank you so much. Have a great day.
All right, get some more food over there. We have your mama's salsa over there.